Here we have a plastic model of the human spine. I'm going to ask you some questions so that way you're playing along. Do you know what these are between the bones? These little jelly donut-like things. Those are, if you haven't said it already or thought it, those are discs. You can say it in several different ways. The intervertebral disc, like I said, the jelly donut, the shock absorber. The disc is basically the piece between the bones that allows motion. It also keeps a little space in between the bones so that way there's an exit for what comes out here. Do you know what these are that come out of the spine? It's important that you understand what those are because this is why chiropractors are in business. This is what we do. This is where we get to see changes. We get to see improvements. We get to see people excited about life when these things don't have interference. What are these things? If you said spinal nerves, you're right. The nerve system, if it has no interference, is a potential for the infinite. When there's interference, it's something else. Well, this is important too because if you're subluxated and this is out of position, it's pinching a nerve, that's bad. Well, I also want to explain the concept about the disc, that the disc has an ability to maintain its normal height to the degree that you have motion. If there's motion in the spine, the disc gets more nutrition. With more nutrition, more ability to heal, and more ability to repair itself. Everything in your body must repair itself and replace itself constantly. The disc is no different. And the disc, unfortunately, does not have the conveyor belt that brings nutrition to it like the rest of the body. It has no blood supply. Because the disc decided, and the infinite wisdom inside your body decided, instead of compromise the integrity of the disc and put a bunch of holes into the disc where you can bring nutrition in that way, it decided, well, you know what? It's wiser to just make this disc strong all the way around so that way it's not compromised, and we'll just figure a way to get it from the bone into the disc. And your body did that with motion. And motion, if it's happening, brings nutrition. Now think about this. Why is that bad if a disc loses height? What would happen to this thing? And if you're thinking correctly, you would say it's pinching. It's going to interfere more than just a subluxation. Because the subluxation is a bone out, you're interfering with nerves, interfering with the message. It's distorted. Well, if this disc loses height, the potential is more that this nerve will have more interference. And if it does have more interference, that's worse for life expression and life experience. If the bones grow around the disc, they could create a bridge to protect the disc from falling. It's kind of like, have you ever seen an old mobile home that has a carport built over it because the mobile homes kind of fall apart and it's leaking and stuff, so then they put a carport over the top of it. The reason they do that? To protect it because it's becoming weak. Well, the same thing with the human body. If you can't fix the mobile home, if you can't fix the barn, you can build something around it so it doesn't collapse. So take this old barn and then you build another barn on top of it. Well, that's what arthritis is, this particular type of arthritis where bones grow around the joint to put a bridge around it so this doesn't collapse. Again, why is it doing that? That infinite wisdom inside you is trying to protect your life. It doesn't want this to collapse and pinch the nerves. Because what do these feed? These feed organs, tissues, glands. It interferes with your ability to create and regulate body chemistry. And if your chemistry is off, which everybody's on the planet that I know has been tested, you go to the doctor, they do a blood lab and say, oh, your chemistry is off. Well, my question, one step further, what controls the blood? What controls the chemistry? The brain. And if there's interference to that, how come you have abnormal chemistry becomes a question of, well, I wonder if there's interference to my nerve system, and if my nerve system is affecting my glands and tissues that are creating chemistry, and it's doing it in the incorrect fashion, so now my blood chemistry is off, and then I understand a little bit further my diagnosis that I have something wrong when actually it's, now I understand there's interference potential, that I have something right with me, it's just being interfered with, and nobody on the planet knows this except for you and I and a few other people, unfortunately, and we're going to change that.